So, I like Minesweeper. You know, that game that you get with every copy of Windows that you click on a square and it tells you how many bombs are around you, and you try not to click on the bombs. And you try to click on all of the other squares to clear it out so you know where all the bombs are. It's not a good game because of the kind of depth and breadth that I expect from good games. It really is just a good game mechanic. And that's why I get really excited when I see other games taking that mechanic and trying to take it further. And today we're looking at Dwarf Sweeper, which is exactly that. And let's jump in and we'll have a look at the game, and then I will give some critique on it and how I think it can be taken even further. Because I think there is something more than just this game here. I think there is something very interesting that we can expand on a bit further. What that is, I don't know if I know. But I think it's something that we can start talking about, start thinking about, based on this developer's clever designs and production here. All right, so I'm going to click on Start Game, and we will jump in. So here we have a little bit of a tutorial, but I don't think it's quite enough of a tutorial. Nevertheless, let's read through it. Welcome to Dwarf Sweeper. The goal of the game: with your squad of dwarves, delve into the mines and reach the bottom of the 3rd floor. Uncover tiles, fight monsters, use items, and find the exit on each floor. So, fairly straightforward. I didn't feel like we were going down, but I don't know why that is. Anyway, so we're dwarves, we're digging down, we're trying to find treasure, and yeah, do the standard dwarven thing. So, how to play. Click on the character to select it, click on a tile to interact with this character. The number on each discovered tile shows the total strength of all still hidden monsters in the surrounding 8 tiles. Already discovered monsters are not counted. So health equals strength. The monster has a number, and that is like its toughness and its health at the same time. And then you get a certain amount of XP for successfully killing it. The monster's strength is also its health. If a monster's strength reaches 0, it dies and gives experience points to the hero who dealt the killing blow. Right, so now we can collect 4 characters. Well, 5. You can collect 4 out of 5 characters, which hopefully they'll expand more. We have a warrior who is just straightforward to do damage and gets tougher every level up. We have a juggernaut who is much the same, I think, so we want those 2 characters. We have a scout that every time he levels, he reveals some random tiles, which is interesting. I don't know how useful that is, but nevertheless it's interesting. Can we take another warrior? Oh, we can. I think that's actually more useful than the scout. Maybe the scout gets more useful at later levels, but I think the more fighter types are good. And then we have the healer. The healer is very, very useful because the healer helps you top up your health and things like that every time you clear a tile, and revive, so it can bring heroes back again. Yeah, let's jump in and see what we can see here. So this is our gameplay. We are starting at this point. Here are our heroes that we have selected. Maybe I should have just picked 3 juggernauts rather than a warrior. I'm not sure what the advantage of the warrior over another juggernaut would be. It does 1 less damage and upgrades strength only over 5 levels as opposed to every 3 levels. Odd. I wonder if the warrior requires less XP to level up. Or is he just always a terrible choice? I don't know. It's kind of the tactical thoughts that you need to think. So now we have our characters, and we have this playing field, and we can't see any of the squares. So we need to click on one of our units, and we have to tell him to clear a square out. So he cleared a square out that had a monster in it. The monster had 3 health. And gave us 3 XP. So he lost 3 health for fighting the monster with 3 health, but he had 5, so he obviously won the day and got XP for destroying that monster. And now here is the difficult bit, because there are monsters in some of these squares, And the health of all of the monsters added up together is 14, and the risk. But we have no idea how that health divides amongst the individual squares from this point. So we are still operating in the dark a little bit. And he only has 2 health points. I'm not going to fight again with him. I'm going to pick a different guy with 5 health points. And I'm going to tell him to clear this square out. Oh, and that is our exit. Can we reach further? Oh, we can. Oh, and he died. Alright, so that was a bad choice. He had 5 health. This monster had clearly more than 5 health. I would say 6 because he's got 1 left. And so our Juggernaut is dead, but that's not gone for good because we can revive when the healer levels up, but there are also revives to fight somewhere on the map. Only 1, so that is 1 revive. Then we also have a 1 health somewhere on the map, and a sort of an experience boost somewhere on the map. And then we have the key for this exit. So we need 1 or more keys to get through the exit, and that's how we get down to the next floor. But we don't want to do that too quickly. We want to level people up. Now this monster only has 1 health. So what I am going to do is I'm actually going to get the healer to fight him and kill him, because then she will XP up, and that will help later in the game. So she levels up. When they level up, they get health fully healed, so you kind of want them to level up to get the health back again. Alright, and she brought that Juggernaut back again because she revives a random ally when she levels up. And that's kind of the gameplay. You have to sort of plan each step based on the calculated risk of the block that you're going to go through, and the needs of your characters to try and get them leveled as quickly as possible. It is quite clever gameplay, a lot more clever than it looks like on the surface, which is, I think, kind of the Minesweeper standard. Minesweeper seems pretty simple until you realize that there's actually logic behind working out which mines, which blocks of mines based on the numbers rather than clicking randomly. And this game is very like that. It seems randomized until you realize that you have to perform this careful dance of health and revive possibilities and trying to get characters leveled up as they go along. I don't know if there is any value in leveling the healer though. Does she get more health at any point? I don't know. Maybe that wasn't... I suppose we needed her to level for the revive, so that'll do. Anyway, let's get this lad to have a whack at this block here. Oh, and he died. That's no good. Alright, well, we can get the healer to smack him again. And because she cleared the block, she also... Every time she clears a block, she gives everybody a point of health, so we healed everyone as well. So she leveled up and she revived him. Right. Now, we know that one of these probably has a 4 health monster, or there could be two health monsters, some variant of that, so we don't know. So anyway, let's get the warrior to clear this block, because he has the highest health of our group. Oh, we found the key. So now this is a 4 block. Are we going to die if we clear it? Yes, we are. Alright, well... The healer won't go up. But let's use this lad to kill this final guy, because he will level up, which will at least give him 6 health, because it'll fill up his 5 plus give 1. Oh, it's only have a 3rd level. Well, at least it'll fill his health up, so he'll have 5 health. I level him up, and he's got 5 health. Now we know that these are zeros, and every time a healer clears a 0, she gives a point of health. So if we get her to do 1, it gives him a health, and this one is also clear, so... Oh, and there's an XP boost there. I wonder how much XP. Oh, plus 3. Alright, well, let's give our big Juggernaut that, so the next time he fights someone, he will level up. I think that might be our enemy there, but let's clear this one. Oh no, it was there, so he can level up. Alright, so he has now leveled and got his full health. And we know that that one is empty, so let's get the healer to do that. And we know that that one is an easy kill, so let's get her to do that. Alright, so now these are tough lads, so let's start over there. Also another easy kill, so let's... Okay, that wasn't one. So this might be an easy kill. Will she get XP for that? Yes. Alright. So I think that's a very scary monster behind there. So let's have this lad kind of clear some out here. Alright, let's clear that one with her. And let's get this guy to chip this one away. See, that's a 5 now. Are we going to be able to survive that? I don't know. Well, we don't really have a choice, so let's smack that. He died. And that will level her, so she will resurrect someone. Alright, so we've got our warrior back again. Let's use him to smack this lad. And that is a clear one. Oh, and he's leveled. Actually, I'm going to leave him at that level. I'm going to heal a point there. And heal a point there. And then he can smack here. Oh. This one will be a level 3. So he can get that and then level up and re-heal himself. And I'm going to leave that one cleared because that's a 0 for when we need healing. So let us... These are only 4s, so let's start here. I think I'd rather level him up. Oh, and he leveled. Nice. And that's another 0. So those two are both 0, so this must be a 3 over here. And these are all 0s, I guess. So this must be 1s over here. One of these two is either 3 or a 4. Alright, let's use you to chip through it. Oh, okay, so that is a 3 there, because all of these, we know all of these are 0s. In fact, we can heal up a little bit just by picking those. So this must be a 3. So let's smack it with this lad. Oh, and he leveled. Nice. And this is a level 1. So let's smack it with the healer. Right. So we know this is a 5, so this is probably empty. Let's get in there with the Juggernaut. Alright. And that's a 0. So let's heal our Juggernaut up a bit. Because he only has 1 health. Okay, so he has 5 health now. And we know that one of these is a 4. Or at least it's divided down into 4. We know he can take anything behind here. We're trying to get him maxed out. And we're trying to get this guy resurrected. So we do need the healer leveled as well. Alright. And this is a 2 who should level him. And this is another 0, but we don't want that just yet. So this should be a 2. Should we get this guy leveled as well? Why not? Alright. So that's a 0, and that's a 0. So this is a 4. So these two are both 4s. Alright, well let's get the Juggernaut in there. Let's get him working his muscle. And this lad as well. Oh. who do we want to level? It won't level our healer, but it will get her close. So let's use her. Okay. Okay. Let's get her to clear these 2 blocks. Oh, that's a full heal for someone, so we don't want to touch that yet. Let's get this guy to smack these. Okay, so that's a 3, so we'll do that. That is a 0, so let's clear that out. Give her health back. So we know that's a 5. So only our warrior can do that. Ooh, and there's a 2 there. That will heal our healer. So let's let her get that heal. Oh, that was stupid of me. Alright, so Juggernaut, you're gonna have to do that, lad. Alright, so I leveled him up. That's a 2 over there. So I guess we will smack that. That's a 0, so let's... Oh, that's a revive. Okay. So that at least brings our lad back. He's only got 2 health. Let's let him take this last one down. And we'll give our warrior that health. So that is how you have to kind of play it. You have to use the numbers to calculate what the threat is and who of your crew can then survive the threat. I'm really annoyed that I only have a warrior with a little bit less strength. I think the warriors need to be tweaked a bit because it's like, why take a warrior when you can bring 3 juggernauts? Maybe you can only bring a limited number of juggernauts. Alright, anyway, let's go through into the next level. So everybody is healed, everybody is revived. This is obviously a bigger level. You need 2 keys, but there are 3 full heals and 3 revives and 2 XP boosts somewhere in the level. And that's it. I mean, that's the gameplay in a nutshell. That's how you work your way through it in the classic kind of Minesweeper style. But the extra level of kind of almost the RPG element of gauging the risk of doing a block against the sort of the health and well-being and that of all of your characters. And it's very, very clever. I like it a lot. I like this as a way of taking Minesweeper to the next level, as I say. So that's all the gameplay I'm showing. So if you're just here for the gameplay, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe, because that trains the YouTube algorithm for me and for you, which is good for both of us. And yes, it does train it for you. It teaches YouTube what kind of videos you like to watch. And don't forget, that's quite important. You want your YouTube algorithm well fleshed out. So I do highly suggest interacting with videos to try and make that happen. Yeah, so that's it for the gameplay. If you are leaving now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. If, however, you are here for the critiques, the judgments of the game. That's not a judgment of the game, obviously. I'm just teasing. It is my suggestions for what can make the game better, both for the developer, if he happens to watch this, and for any other indie devs who want some ideas to try and polish their own games up a little bit, given by a gamer of some 35 plus years. So I think it's worth something. I hope it is anyway. Well, let's first of all look at the UI. We do have a nice, useful menu button, which wasn't accessible from the main menu, interestingly. I couldn't get to this kind of stuff here. And there are some very, very interesting options here. We have a little bit of the tutorial. I don't think it's much of a tutorial. I think the tutorial could definitely be fleshed out a bit more. This is just a little bit of text and trying to explain how to play it. Actually slightly better text than the one that was in the start menu, but I think a tutorial level that you could access from a button from the main screen would be quite a valuable addition to add to it. And as I've said in many other videos, remember that because this is a game that you can just come and play, with 2 clicks. You click on the link to load the itch your page and click on the run game button and you're playing the game. It's very, very easy for non-gamers to get to. They don't need to install anything. They don't need to download anything. They just have to have the internet and a browser, which most people have these days. So you need to assume that complete non-gamers are coming to play your game. And there are some brilliant videos online of guys who have taken their completely non-gamer partner and said, play this game, and then just recorded without giving them much advice. And it's amazing how bad a non-gamer is at playing a game because they've just never had any of that experience. So yeah, they could be a gamer, but if you make their lives miserable as they try to play the game, they're very unlikely to play it. They're just like, oh no, these games are stupid, I can't play this thing. And then they're gone, and we don't have another game in the community. And we want more gamers. The more gamers, the better. People should be playing games. Games are important for people to play for multiple levels. I can go on about that for ages, but I'll shut up now. So just make sure your tutorials take a completely novice person by the hand and say, this is how you play this game gently. And then you can return to how the game plays after that. But the first few minutes of a game are vital for the game's well-being at all. Sort of even experienced gamers, the first few minutes of a game are what makes them like or dislike your game. So always make that valuable and smooth and enjoyable. But yeah, for novice gamers, make it easy for them. Make it so that they can click on a button and go, okay, this is how to play the game on super easy mode until you learn how to play a game. So that's why I go on about the tutorials so much. I think that's important. Otherwise we have mute sounds and mute music, which is nice. We also very interestingly have things that will take us to where the music comes from. I thought it was options for different music, but no, take us to where the music comes from. And I suppose the sound effects as well. Look like an options menu thing. Maybe make that more obviously a link or something like that. I don't know, a little line underneath it. Underneath the character, I would say, just to make it look a bit more link-like, so it's more obvious what that does. So our developer house is Stray Fawn Studio. Lovely studio name. I like that a lot. We have a newsletter button, we have a Discord button, and then we have go back to the game button. So I think the UI is pretty damn good. In here as well, it looks good. Maybe you could add a little bit of trim, like a wooden lining or something like that, to give this slightly more of a sort of a medieval fantasy theme. I don't know, something along those lines. It could be themed a bit more. It's a little bit too clean cut for a fantasy game. But otherwise, this makes sense. Once you know how to play the game, it makes perfectly good sense, and I like it a lot. All the information is required there. Again, perhaps a little bit too much information. This could be taken from here and put up here, perhaps, just so that they're two separate things to look at. There's a really interesting thing where people can only really focus on 7 things at once. So if you give them an interface with like more things to look at than 7 things, they start losing track of stuff. And I think of some military interface designs kind of just draw boxes around controls that fit together, and it helps the brain go, I don't need to look at anything outside of this box, and then the brain can focus. And you just have to make sure you have less than 7 things in that box, and if you have more than that, then your interface is too complex and you have to kind of cut it down and see how you can separate it out and things like that. So there's a bit of sort of psychology in the way the brain works behind that kind of thing. But it is important to try and remove as much clutter as possible from the thing that you're looking at, because behind the scenes your brain processes everything it looks at and decides whether or not it can ignore it, and that takes up brain power, it takes up energy. So a cluttered space will actually tire you out faster, because your brain is just sitting there in the background rechecking everything and going, yes, I don't need to think about that. Oh, I don't need to think about that. I don't need to think about that. And it takes a little bit of energy every time it has to kind of come to that conclusion, even if you're not consciously aware of it. So remove clutter from your life and remove clutter from your game interfaces, because it'll make it more comfortable for the player to play it. and if you can, separate it out and box it up so the player's brain it's easier for the brain to go, okay, I don't need to think about that because that's a whole different set of things that I don't need to look at just yet. And yeah, that's the theory behind it. I think it's important. All right, sounds. So what I'm going to do here is the music is quite nice, but let's mute it for now. I hope that doesn't mess with my YouTubes. It is quite pleasant. And yeah, there's interesting noises here. You know, if you click on that and you click on a button, yeah, it's weird sounds. It's not particularly combative sounds. It's weirdly like magical sounds. I mean, what does that mean? It should really be sort of a dink 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 of digging or something happening, or a click of fighting happening. So you have different ideas of what's going on. I think. So I think it's quite important for the sounds to be along those lines. I think that would make more sense. But otherwise, I mean, they're good sounds once you get used to them. That is a terrifyingly powerful monster. Alright, so we can ignore him for a bit. And that sucks that our toughest guy is dead. But let's continue to work through here. Okay, so that's a 10, so that's a little bit more survivable, I think. Let's get the warrior to go through here. Oh. If we level it up, we can bring our juggernaut back. Alright, well, he came back with 5 health. I suppose that's one advantage of leveling the healer back, is that the health that every Vive comes back with is based on her level. So yeah. Alright, well, let's hit this and see what happens, I guess. Oh, there's a revive. Okay, that'll be useful. And back into playing the game anyway. So yeah, I don't really like the sounds as they are. I think they could be a little bit more pertinent to what's actually happening. But I like the fact that everything is sounded individually and things like that. And they're good, clear sounds, so it's quite pleasant. Yeah, I would just my recommendation is just go and find better sounds to play with, I suppose. Yeah, that's my thoughts there. I hope they're helpful. The art is great. I love the way it looks. Is there a way to return to stop playing and return to the game? Press R to reset. Okay, so R is reset. Now I want to go back to the main menu. Let's reload this and rerun the game. So it's made with Unity, as you can tell. Yeah, the start. Again, the buttons aren't quite themed particularly well. The title is a bit weird. I don't know if that really says much about the game and things like that. That needs to be themed a bit more. So theme your fonts, theme your buttons, theme your controls, better tutorial. Otherwise, the art is fantastic and the sound is fantastic. Yeah, and the gameplay. The gameplay... Yeah, I don't understand why I would select a warrior when I have the ability to select multiple juggernauts. The scout is an interesting variant. I don't know. The lemming, again, I can see where the lemming can be very, very powerful. Probably is necessary for the sort of the level 2 of the game. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea as the lemming. I don't know if I play well enough to use the lemming. I'd rather clear very obvious tiles based on with my healer to heal the others. I don't know. I think that might be very, very useful, but you have to kind of know what you're doing for the lemmings. But I don't understand what the warrior is for. And I think the scout is a bit too varied to really be useful. That could be quite powerful, actually, if you're able to get the scout to survive long enough to level up. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. There, look, we have a tougher crew if we don't have the warrior. What value is the warrior? Um, hmm, don't know. Oh, getting quite lucky with them there. Oh, and he leveled up. Let's maximize the screen. That was a good start of the game. I could have had Lemming there. So yeah, and the immersion. The game is quite clearly an RPG style game where it's given us a story that we're like dwarven minor adventurers trying to get down to the bottom of a mine for treasure. But like, what is going on here? Why are there all these monsters? Are we underneath a Dark Lord's dungeon? Is this just what the realm is like? I'd love more lore. I think it's something I always want to add to games. It's just more lore, more context, more settings. I think it's important to give the I use the word engagement quite a bit because it's a YouTube thing, but to give the player more engagement with the game, the more kind of convincing, interesting lore you can put in, the more the player cares about the game and cares about what happens at each step. And yeah, that's I think that's important. I think that's kind of the thing that you need to make a game live is the player's engagement with it, because that makes the player more likely to go and tell his friends to support the game, to buy DLC, and etc., etc. All of the things that you want the player to do to have a successful game, both as a product and both as as getting your vision out there into the world. So yeah, lore is important, and like I was saying under the tutorial thing, the first few minutes of the game is very, very important, because that's where the player is formalizing their perspective on the game. If they have a great start to the game, then even if things suck after that, they will be starting from a very positive mindset. So they will look past the suckiness to the next great moment, as opposed to if you start badly with the game, then the next things could be mediocre to good, and the player will decide that those things suck because he's had a bad starting experience, and he won't want to play any further, and he won't want to support the game. So yeah, so that does that first minute or two of the game, make that fun, like particularly fun, make it interesting for the player, make it easy with the tutorial level so you can smooth good players in, and make it immersive. Give the player a reason to care about the game, because that will make them continue to play it and have a more positive opinion about the game. This is why good games have those dramatic things where some significantly interesting person to the player character is in some sort of peril or something like that. That's an easy way to really draw in the player and go, I want to play this game, I want to save that person, and now they're already immersing with the player character, and yeah, you've got a very, very powerful start. So that's an important thing for a game. Try and get the player immersed in the first couple of minutes and give them an easy way into the game, and I think that's quite vital for the success of a game, for players to actually enjoy it. Yeah, obviously not. You can create a game without doing that smooth entry, because look at the the Bloodborne and those kind of games, which makes the player miserable from the beginning of the game, and I suppose gives you a fairly reasonable expectation of what the game is going to be at, because those are games that are almost designed to make you miserable until you beat them. But there's almost an exception that proves the rule, because not a lot of people like those games because they are difficult to get into. So unless you're aiming for that kind of market, and that is a difficult market to get into, I think it's already pretty saturated, and you have hard competition to beat there. But yeah, so if you're not trying to engage in that fight, and I don't recommend it, make your game easy to get into and interesting to get into, and give the player some depth and some lore to immerse them into it, and yeah, I think you will be a lot more successful. And that is all the ranting from me. I hope you have enjoyed this game, or at least this look at the game. I hope you will come and play this game. I think it's really interesting to play. And yeah, if you like Minesweeper, then definitely come and play this, because it's Minesweeper++. And even if you don't, come play it anyway, because it's actually quite fun and a good little mental puzzle and an interesting little bit of gameplay to play. I can see it go further. I mean, you can start to equip your guys, and more interesting things happen, and the map can be bigger with more variations, not just warriors and reward. I mean, monsters and rewards. You could find other people and maybe add to your crew for a few steps and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, there's huge amount of things that can be boosted out from the RPG and the interesting gameplay mechanic views. And I would love to see that. So I'd like to see this game succeed and expand on that kind of thing, keeping the kind of this Minesweeper mechanic as the core mechanic, but you can build on that to a great extent. And I hope this game is going to do that kind of thing. So yeah, so thank you for watching, and developer, if you're listening, thank you for making an amazing game, and I hope to see all of you guys in the next video, and goodbye.